The heliotrope follows the movement of the sun, and in its rotation, if we could hear the sound of the air buffeted by its movement, we should be aware that it is a hymn to its king. I came across that quote by the Greek philosopher Proclus in a wonderful book by Henry Corbin about the Sufi mystic Ibn Arabi. It was that particular phrase, the sound of the air buffeted by its movement, that really inspired music. And I immediately started to think of percussive textures and to just imagine what the sound of a flower moving might be like, listening on this kind of microscopic level. And I had this idea that it would move from the kind of earthy sounds of wood through skin drums of very loud nature like snare drums and bass drums, and then move slowly to a more kind of celestial sound, if you will, of metallics. So that's where the section for vibraphones comes in, as well as triangle. At the opening and the closing of the piece, there's this gesture that's meant to represent kind of the omnipresent sun who's just watching over the whole process with a kind of detachment. And that's the section for bowed cymbals and bowed crotales and almglocken. It's a kind of bookend for the whole drama. And also, like the American minimalists, I was really interested in finding the drama and the emotion in a very mechanical or even machine-like process. In the middle, there are three sections that are kind of mirrors of each other, so the whole form of the piece is a big palindrome. For instance, when you get to the vibraphone section, the pitch process and the rhythmic process that it goes through is exactly in reverse to what the marimba had done before. So in that way, once you get to the middle of the piece, in a lot of ways it just starts going backwards again, but with different sounds and instruments. The two percussionists often mirror each other's movements on stage, and so they move from one instrument to another simultaneously. In that way, they often act as a single musician. So far, it's always been an event to have this piece performed because it is definitely a big setup and it's definitely a challenge for the players, but it's been extremely gratifying to see on stage because it's a very visually exciting piece and the audiences have seemed to really respond to it.